On this week's episode of Just a Walk Thanks, we had Alison Brassel from Arrowfield, an Irish-born superstar in the Bloodstock game, join us. We went through her career, her life a little bit, and then talked about some of the big boy stallions they have at Arrowfield. Talked about Trump, talked about the State of Origin, a little bit of AFL, and finished with a recap of Manhattan View yesterday, winning a Metro Maiden at Sandown and our runners across the weekend. I hope you enjoy the show. G'day and welcome to Just a Walk Thanks episode 10. Exciting episode for us here, bit of a change up. We've got Alison Brassel on, who I know from Arrowfield and a bit of a safe place at the sales. Butch knows a lot more about her, and we're going to dive into her life, her career, and see if we can pick up some pearls that you might find useful if you're looking to get yourself into the bloodstock side of this industry. And we'll just see where the conversation rolls. Present today, Mickey Gannon, not sure for how long he's hanging around. Roberto Scuzz, the horses whisper to him and he listens and he sends it out as betting information. John O'Rayner, the racing manager at Mailbag Bloodstock. And as always, Butch Born. Butch, how are you?
Good. G'day to everybody.
Always a bit more subdued than normal on this week's episode. I think that's because Alison's here. Alison, thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's an honor and a pleasure to be asked on.
Butch, do you want to take it away?
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Alison. I thought we might start with from the beginning. Do you come from a family that has interest in thoroughbreds?
Yeah, mostly national hunt racing. So my uncle, he trains national hunt horses or jumpers back in Ireland. So the family's always had a bit of an association with racing from that side of things. He actually trained a Grand National winner. He trained a horse to win an English Grand National winner, to win an English Grand National and an Irish Grand National in the same year, which was, massive at the time, and in typical Irish fashion, brought the horse back to the pub in our local town, and sort of like the whole village came out to see it. And I think I was about 7 or 8 at the time. And after that, I got really into following national hunt, but I grew up riding and show jumping and eventing and was always around the horses. But it wasn't until a bit later on that I realized that I could actually make a career out of horses. And it all took off from there, really.
Yeah. So first job in racing?
First job in racing, I worked at a small farm, which is about half an hour down the road from me, for a very good breeder. His name is Paul McCartan. He actually bred Harry Angel and Batash from the same crop from about 10 or 12 mares. Very good pinhooker, and would find horses like Dark Angel before he came out and, hit the big time. He'd find stallions that, before they made it and make a lot of money off those. So learned a lot from him. And then I did a season at Coolmore in America. So I did a foaling season and stayed on for the sales and a yearling prep in Keeneland, September. So then sort of started learning about all the sales and, the opportunities that exist within the bloodstock side of things and the racing. So after that, I was hooked.
Right. And so you went from Keeneland to your next venture, which was?
Well, I was still in uni at the time when I went out to Coolmore for a season.
What were you studying?
Equine science.
Yep.
Equine science. So that's a 4-year degree in Ireland, and you get to do a work placement and basically take a semester out and go somewhere. So I stayed on for Keeneland, missed the first few weeks of my last year of uni to stay on and do the sales. And after that, I'd heard about the Godolphin Flying Start program when I was on that, when I was in uni, and sort of tried to develop my CV a bit to get different experience to get on the Flying Start program. So once I graduated, I kept working at Paul McCartan's farm during uni, and I did an internship at Horse Racing Ireland, based at Tipperary Racecourse. And then I went to Shadwell for about a year, and I did nominations and a marketing role there for a year before I went on the Godolphin Flying Start.
What is the Godolphin Flying Start?
It's essentially a 2-year, it's kind of like a master's in breeding and racing that's sponsored by Godolphin. So it covers all aspects of the industry. So you start off in Ireland, England, America, Australia, and Dubai, and then back to Ireland at the end. It's over 2 years. And you get to work for different trainers, breeders, sort of you can shape it a bit to how you want and the experiences that you want to get out of it in each country. You do modules in veterinary, business, so much more, nutrition. In each country, it's accredited with unis in each country. And you just get lots of, lectures and time spent visiting different stables and trainers and stud farms. So it's, it's an incredible experience, and you meet so many people through it. And it's a great opportunity. But they take 12 people every year, and you live with them 24/7. You're with the same, the group of you.
So of those 12, how many would you like have a drink with today, and how many are you happy to like never ever ever see again?
I would have a drink with anyone. No, it's you become very close. You're almost like brothers and sisters. It's kind of like a big brother situation nearly. You're with the same people every day for 2 years, so you become very, very close with them all. So
what's the process? Do you have to apply for Flying Start, Alison, or are you invited? What's the procedure?
You've got to apply. I think you can, you can recommend people to go on, but really it's you apply yourself. You've got to have a degree. You have to, because it's very sort of, there's a lot of continuous assessment, and you do modules of different unis. And previous experience in the industry. So it's a quite a long process to get on the course. You submit your CV in a written application. You have to do a riding video. You've got to be able to have some sort of standard of riding a horse. You do all of these different types of assessments, and then you do nearly half a day long interview where you have a group work interview to see how you work within a group, within a team, and you have a test, and then you have a personal interview.
So of the 12 that get the intake every year, how many would apply?
Gosh, I think it changes every year. I think there'll be over 100 applicants.
Yep.
From memory.
So when you say tailored to what your preferences would be, is it always global, or can you be restricted to a country in that sense? No,
it's always global. You have to do you follow the program through each country. But when I say tailored, say if you go on and you want to be a trainer, or you're more interested in breeding or bloodstock, one of the best things about the course is that you have a long work placement in each country. So you can choose what area you want that to be in. If you want it to be with a trainer, or you want to be with a bloodstock agent, or with a sales company, you can, or you want to work for, you want to learn off someone that you really admire. They're very generous in opening the doors to taking on people to do those externships. So you can kind of, tailor it to what you want to get out of the course in that way.
Where were you placed on your 2 years? Where were some of the more pivotal places that you went to, and what did you learn?
Probably one of my favorite ones. I did my Australian placement with Gay and Adrian. So that was so good. I did all of the Hunter Valley pre-Magics inspections with Gay, and then was in at the racing stable for the second half of it with, in the yard, but also in the tower with Adrian a lot. So that was really, really valuable. Considering I wanted to work in Australia afterwards, and it probably contributed to me wanting to work in Australia after that.
How'd you get to the inspections with Guy? What was the
How
travel?
how did I get there? I was already in the Hunter, so I didn't get on the helicopter, unfortunately.
So that's still on the list then to tick off.
Yeah, it's on the one day.
Yeah. Good.
So post Flying Star.
Post flying start, I came to Arrowfield straight away.
Okay. So how long have you been at Arrowfield now?
Nearly 5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, Arrowfield has the greatest hospitality at the sales, doesn't it, Butch?
The best by a mile. Until I get to the next one, then they're the best. No, very, very, very good. Arrowfield always has been, and some nice people. Sal Gordon, we've got to give Sal a shout out, haven't we, Alison?
We do indeed.
Yeah, she's a rock star, Sal. No, good farm. So let's talk about your stallions, Alison. From where I sit, Snitzel continues to perform year after year. Every time you go to the sales at his age, I'm sort of waiting, for his types just to drop off a little bit. But I thought this year is as strong as ever from January right through to the end. So he's showing no signs of slowing down, is he?
No, absolutely not. He's an anomaly, really. His fertility is excellent. He looks like a younger horse. He's rising 20 now, but his stats, and it takes a very special horse to not decline as they get older. And in terms of, Redoute's did it, was the same. Some of his best crops were his later crops as well. And Snitzel's, numbers and his mare quality have been consistent the whole way through. And I think it's a testament to how the team at Arrowfield have handled him for his whole career. He's had consistency the whole way through, and he looks phenomenal. So, had another great season with his 2-year-olds again this year, and his sons at stud are kicking, and he had 2 of his daughters produce Group 1 winners this year, Celestial Legend and the Written Tycoon filly in New Zealand. So yeah, he's an amazing stallion. So
how many mares would he be serving this coming season?
Probably about the 120 mark. He could cover a lot more, but purely, we mind the stallions, and especially at his age, you don't want to overtax them. So that's a number that we want to have him around for as long as possible. So that's a good number to have him at.
And it's fair to say that Dundeal's had a phenomenal season. He's had almost a resurgence, hasn't he? It's like the second wave with his current crop.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something that happens, often with stallions when they kick to begin with. He started off of a fee of around 30,000 as well. His crop that are 3-year-olds now are the first bred off of a 60,000 fee. So he's gone to another level with, the numbers and quality, but he already did it in his first couple of seasons. But generally stallions, after their first season, second, third, especially if the horses that look like they're going to take a bit of time and get out over a bit further, until they have runners, the market sort of doesn't go as hard supporting them with mares the second and third season. So generally, once they kick with their first crop, you always see that bit of a drop. And then the next bunch of runners are the ones that are bred off the back of those first ones. And that's a that's similar that what's happening with Morris now as well. He's on that cusp of going to the next level too. So Dundee has gone then from 60 with his 60,000 with his 3-year-old crop bred at, and now he's at 82,500.
With
82.5, he's at 88 now.
With Dundee, he seems to be a sort of exception to the rule in the fact that he's just a little fellow that can get, 1,200 meter winners. He can get 2,400 meter winners. Is there any other stallion sort of around the world that's sort of got the same stature with the same sort of success rate? Is there any other little pony kind of stallions that are first class?
Well, you say little pony, but he's 15.3, so you've just got to look at one of your favorite stallions to talk about, Northern Dancer.
Yeah. I had to look that up actually. Just remember.
Did you? I mean, he was a pony. I think he was about 15.1. So size.
Yeah, 15.1. That's right.
How tall Schnitzel, Alison?
15.3. So he's the same height as Dundee.
Yeah.
Not a single doubt was 15.3. You look at Extreme Choice. He'd be. I'm not sure of his exact height, but he's smaller than 15.3. So size, as they say, doesn't really matter.
But often,
yeah.
If it was all about size, a cow would be faster than a rabbit.
Yes. Very true.
Wow, that's deep.
But no, he's versatile. He's versatile. A similar horse on the roster for us is Morris. He's not, in terms of size, the same. He's a bigger horse, but he can get you sprinters. He can get you 2-year-olds. He can get you 3-year-olds. You can get you Derby horses, and those versatile stallions that can, depending on what kind of mare you send them, get you. But Schnitzel is the same, really, too. I mean, he can, he had a Cox Plate winner, Slipper winner.
So, Alison, the Autumn Sun, we waited for him to, get his niche runners, which is, 3-year-olds over a little bit of distance. He came with a big flurry at the end of the season with his fillies. So he's really only one proper colt away from being a serious stallion, isn't he?
Look, I think he's already a serious stallion. He probably hasn't had the number of runners, and you look back at other stallions who, use the Beals, or we do a lot of historical comparisons on stallions, that have turned into champion stallions, and generally, that always evens out. So. But yeah, his fillies certainly were incredible towards the end of the season this year, and I think the secret with them is that they just needed that little bit more time. But then he comes out and he had a Flemington 2-year-old winner, Sneaky Sunrise, who's out of a So You Think mare. From a bit more of a stout family, and she was 2-year-old stake place. So, this is his first crop, and I think it's too early to call it, but he looks like he's, got the makings of, could be a champion stallion. Like, horses just don't do that, get 3 Group 1 winners in 3 weeks on the trot. So
Morris starts off the same way as Dundee. They're not meant to be 2-year-olds or sprinters. He hits the heights when he's first crop of 3-year-olds, and he would be getting well supported off the back of that. So the same as Dundee, are we looking for a second wave from Morris about to hit us?
The Morris, yeah, absolutely. But Morris is a little bit of a different scenario, because he actually missed a season in 2020 because of COVID. There was no Japanese stallions that could shuttle down with the restrictions. So he actually missed that season. And at the time, Mazu had just come out. And so when he came back to us in the following year, he jumped from a fee of 25 plus GST to the 40 plus, and he was fully booked. His first 3 seasons, he started, he was at 25 to 30, and he got about 88 foals in his first crop, 60 odd foals in his second crop, and 50 odd foals in his third crop. And that's a tricky enough number in terms of getting the momentum going to keep you going forward. However, he threw Hitotsu, he threw Mazu, he had a couple of 2-year-old stakes winners, a number of group winners off of a very small number of runners. He still only had about 160 runners in Australia. But if you break each crop down, the last crop, which are now 3-year-olds, there was about 45 runners in that. 4 of them are stakes winners. And that's nearly 10% stakes winners to runners, which is very high. Like a good ratio of stakes winners to runners for a proven stallion is about 5%. So you had 2-year-old stakes winners from that as well. So then he misses the year, and the first crop back that are bred off the back of those good horses coming out are now yearlings. So that kind of in itself presents a bit of an opportunity to be buying them probably for a bit better value this year, or breeding to him for a bit better value this year. And his next 2 crops are bred off of a fee of 82.5 grand, because he had the 2 Group 1 winners, and he just went bang. So we've dropped him back in fee this year to reflect more so the number of runners that are going around. So he's about to go to the next level with those 3 full books of very high quality mares. We had a lot of mares that could have gone to Schnitzel, or any stallion in any of the top stallions in the country that have gone to Morris, because he's an outcross. So yeah.
So Rob, Scurry, and myself, Alison, we're unabashed fans of the Japanese breed. What, like, maybe, temperament-wise, conformation-wise, you've got to admire Mars, Morris, you've seen a few of them, Real Steel. What can you tell us about their temperaments and their conformation, which makes them different than the Australian horse?
They're just tough. They're very, very tough horses, and that's how the Japanese breed them, and the style of training and racing, and probably why they're suited to down here. You watch Japanese racing, they go straight out of the barriers. There's not as much tactics and running a race slow. They run
fast.
They go out and they go fast. And admire Mars, for example. He was a very, very fast horse. He won the shortest distance Group 1 for 2-year-olds that there is there, which is over 1,600 meters. But he had a lot of front running speed, and when something came up beside him, he pinned his ears back and he fought. So the tough horses. The Japanese don't really breed cosmetically as much as we do here. With all of their corrective, they don't do as much corrective surgeries for, fashion for the sales. So if that sort of ends up, you end up breeding, for a racehorse, and tougher horses come out of it. So they're the other thing about Japanese racing, it's a lot harder to win a stakes race there. About 1.4% of their races are black type races. Australasia is about 3.4, something like 3.5%. So it's a lot tougher to be a Morris for a 6-time Group 1 winner there.
How excited are you about Hitotsu?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I love the horse. He covered 163 mares first season, and just going, back to your argument there about the commerciality of Derby winners, that was the second highest number for a first season sire in the country. I think in the Congo might have covered a couple more than him from memory. So he impressed breeders. He's a lovely looking horse. You know, he's well balanced. He doesn't look physically like what you might picture in your head as a staying Derby type horse.
Yeah.
He's more short coupled, and he's from a speed family. Like, he's from the family of Lean Mean Machine, and he's out of a Reduced Mare. There's a lot of good 2-year-olds in that family. But he had 3 starts at 2. He ran in the Blue Diamond behind Animo, and when he ran in the Sire's Produce of Flemington, he was purchased by Kieran and his team off the back of his run and his sectionals in that race, and then went to Kieran's, had 5 starts at 3. Won his maiden. They brought him to Donald to win his maiden. Ran, not too far, had a good run behind Animo in the Caulfield Guineas.
It was a very, very, very good run.
Won 3 Group 1s in a row after that before he got an injury and had to be retired. So he covered a good book of first mares, and we supported him well. So he'll have a very good chance.
It's exciting, sort of contrary to what Rob's saying. Animo and Hitotsu are very, very potentially superstars, and they're horses that were early enough, or particularly Animo, but they got a trip. So it'll be fascinating how they go over the next 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. So the world was his oyster before he got his injury. They were talking Cox Plate, or they were talking about even going to, bringing him to Hong Kong. So
what outside of, obviously, you work for Arrowfield, what have been some of your favorite horses all time?
Oh, some of my favorite horses of all time. Oh, it's going to sound cliche, but Frankel, when he was racing at the time, was just, unbelievable. You still get chills and shivers watching his 1,000 Guineas win.
Did you see Harbinger? He was one of the best looking horses I ever saw. He's in Japan now.
I've never seen him, no. I've never seen him.
I was at Royal Ascot, declared it. They had even money. But yeah, he's up there. No one asked me, but he's my favourite.
John, Mick, anything?
Favorite horse of all time. Early days Superimpose when I was a kid. Butch is probably the only one that can remember that. And Rob.
I was at the track.
Rob's a lot older than he looks. Like
No, so I said Bush and Rob. Bush and Rob.
Yeah. The saddest car ride home of my life was after when Superimpose won the Cox Plate. We were all over naturalism, and he fell over. It was very sad.
Alison, which is your favourite sail to be at? Is it the Magics or is it too hot? I'd imagine East would be the best. Good facilities, good climate.
Liverpool.
Yeah, okay, setback. So what are we thinking?
I would say January Magic Millions it's everybody's fresh off the back of the Christmas break. It's sunny, everyone's just happy to be there. Yeah, it's the start of the sales season, so there's a bit of a, it's fresh again, it's new, it's a bit exciting. And the weather helps. It can get very hot. But it's probably January, and I love the sales, but it certainly makes it easier when the sun's shining.
You always love the sales? I mean, it must get a bit of a grind late.
Do I get tired of them?
Yeah, it must be a bit of a grind late in
the last furlong would be tough.
The last couple of sales of the year, and as well, it is when you've got a lot of horses to sell. But I like the challenge.
Don't worry about the last furlong or the end of the sales season. Probably trying to sell a couple of cheap ones in Adelaide might be tough going, Alison, is it?
Actually, now that you mention Adelaide, that is probably one of my favourite sales.
I reckon it's brilliant.
It's
Catch the
good.
tram in, from the bay, quieter. It's nice.
Festivals
It's-
on.
It's nicer and relaxed. It's, in between Classic and Easter, but yeah, it's always good fun down there. And but it's actually we've done well there in the last 3 years. If you take a nice horse down there, a few nice horses there, the market actually holds up quite well, because it's sort of, you have the local, the South Australians that may not get to the Premier Sale or to Classic. So I think the clearance rate is boosted by that a little bit. And yeah, if you take a few nice horses down there, you get well rewarded. So yeah, it's good. It's a good sale.
Speaking of nice horses, Adelaide, we bought the Maurice out of the closer. Tell us what you thought of that filly.
That was a nice segue there by Butch into Adelaide. I see what you did there.
Straighten us up. It's good.
I love the filly. She is the spitting image of her sire Morris. Firstly, from a physical point of view, same markings. She had the same depth of girth. She was a very, very good first foal. Physically, just what you would want a Morris to look like, very much like him as well. But she was also mentally bomb-proof. I remember being down at the back where she was, and there was, trucks emptying a skip. There was things like sign flapping at one point, and there was a lot going on. It was a noisy corner of the sale, and she, never batted an eyelid the whole time. So she was certainly, I'd say, the pick of the yearlings that we brought down there this year. From a pedigree point of view, the cross is already working. Morris has thrown a stakes winning filly that was placed in a Queensland Oaks out of a done deal mare, and that wider high shap cross is very good. Mares by Sons of High Shap. It's High Shap and Sons. It's 11 runners from 11 winners and a couple of group winners. So it's very good. He loves that double of Sadler's Wells. And she was a very tough, good, smart race mare that, probably was a bit better than her form suggests. They always thought that they'd win a group race with her. She won at 2. She won a, $150,000 race on her second start. She ran behind Very Elegant in a group race and was 4th in a CUNY under Tristark. And when we bought her to come to the Stallions, we kept her in training with Kieran. He thought he could win the Tibby with her. So, certainly very, very good race mare. And his second dam was, won an Oaks and 1,000 guineas as well. So she certainly has a lot going for her.
Jono, Jono, at themailbag.com.au.
You beat me to it. I was on mute.
He's on mute.
Doesn't trust himself.
That was all very impressive off the top of the head, Alison. All that relations and form, incredible.
Know my horses, but no, she's she's genuinely a very, very good filly that will have every chance.
Yeah, I spoke to JD Hayes yesterday, father of Charlie. He's got a newborn. JD and Britt, good on him. And the filly settled in at Lindsay Park, very happy with her. And just going back to what Alison said before, they love her temperament. Yeah, she's just a pleasure to do anything with. So she's in the system, Jack, and ready to go.
If you want to find out more, Jono, Jono, at themailbag.com.au. Alison, is there anything you'd like to ask us before we wrap it up? You've been enormous. Thank you for coming. Hope it wasn't too much.
Oh, what do you like this weekend?
Oh, that's good. I thought
Pencils, crayons.
Yeah, Red Aces race 1 at Flemington in a good race, exciting race. There's a Politely Done, interesting bred horse. I think it's Done Deal out of Politeness, maybe.
Yeah, great.
For Danny O. And once this finishes, I'm actually going up and having an old school cashy race 4, number 8, Arquana. Anthony and Sam Friedman, Jayla Kennedy. I think she's a star, young star, Jayla Kennedy, and I think that horse has proper upside in I think it's an apprentice only race. So
Huh.
got to tread carefully, but you got to find the right ones. I think the two best riders in that race are obviously Celine the Machine Gaudreau, but also Jayla Kennedy. Boys, any other bets around the cards? And we also should get back into this before we finish, because this whole thing almost exists because of Alison. She's the one that introduced Butch and I. But we'll get to that.
Apologies for that.
Gano, what's your best this weekend, bro?
Oh, I got a few. We'll go Rosehill, get a fix. I think get the job over Margewood.
Oh, Papson's horse.
Yeah, just it was very colty last time around.
Real piece.
You can't. Thanks, Rob. Happy to be against Margewood. So race 1, get a fix at Rosehill. I think race 3, number 8, Herb, is a huge each way price around the $15 mark. And one for us, race 9, number 10, Danusta. Only got to get the job done. We've only got to overcome Cholton Lane. We do that. I think we'll win. Great second up record. Good horse. Barrier 1, Jay Collett. I think that'll be ideal. And race 10, number 15, Union Army. Great each way play as well. So there you go. There's plenty of plays there. Don't run out of betting opportunity.
We've got a Schnitzel filly too. Until Valhalla goes around in race 4 for Kieran at Rosehill on Saturday. We've got 2 in at Rosehill. Didn't have 3 up there.
I like Jetta again.
Up there and out there. That's a big trip out to Rosehill.
I like Jetta as well, Rob. Also nom for Flemington.
Alison,
Really?
have you got a bet on the weekend?
I like Politely Done. I'm with you on that one, stepping up to the 1800. But I do. There's a filly in next week at Caulfield. This is just a walk thanks exclusive special.
Yeah.
There's a filly that we own called Comanche Miss.
Yeah.
And she was 4th in in a listed race at Caulfield on her first start behind Bull Bastille. She won her jump out last week. She's had 2 jump outs back this prep, and she will run in next Saturday, the 27th, in the 2-year-old race at Caulfield. And we like her a lot, and she should be fit and ready to run extremely well in that race. So I've probably, shot myself in the foot with what price she will be as a result. But
the 40 listeners we get will smash it into it. And you're on the show, so only 39.
Yeah. You're assuming that I'll listen every week.
Butch, you got a bet around the weekend? What do you got?
Yeah, I got the bet of the century.
Swans. Yeah,
Swans at $1.90, absolute moral.
Oh.
No Charlie Cameron for Brisbane. $1.90. I can't believe it. I don't know what are the banks offering at the moment. Like $1.90 Sydney to beat Brisbane. Anyway, that's like taking candy off a baby.
Before you go, what's your memories of the introduction of Butch and I?
Well, I think it must have been quiet at the sales that I was, trying to match. I can't remember. I think I was talking to you, and Butch walks up waiting for a card. And I think maybe I was trying to buy myself some time, and I said, "Oh, you two are too alike, you shouldn't meet." And then the rest is history.
Is
that right? Do I remember correctly?
Yeah, that's right, Alison. And we've since had a child.
I just remember how
that'd be one good-looking baby.
How close he walks to the edge of offending someone at a sale. Just really it brightened up a long day, and it has ever since.
Yeah, created a monster, but it's entertaining.
Alison, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I hope it wasn't too bad. And if you're listening, I hope you got something out of it. It sounds to me like if you want to get into Bloodstock properly or into racing, you're going to need a uni degree, and you need to be able to ride a horse. And if you need help with your resume, I'd use ChatGTP. and you're halfway to applying for the daily flying start. Alison, thank you very, very much.
Pleasure. Thank you very much for having me on.
All right, we'll finish off with a bit more of a usual sort of non-racing gear. We'll get to Rob. I don't know if Jono will have anything to say, maybe Mick, but Butch, Trump, he's unbeatable now.
Oh, what a moment in
He turned his head at the right time, got nicked on the ear, and then my mail is that he still made his tee time the next day. The whole golf course was just for him and his playing partner, and he has like people helping him around the course, and he sunk a 20-foot putt, and he said, "See, that's the difference. I don't miss." He's unbeatable.
That is unreal.
No, I went down the street the following day and to get a coffee, and they had a new one up there. It's called the Trump, something about 2 extra shots or something. It hasn't taken long for people to jump on board, but I don't know quite sure about conspiracy theory, but it seems to be that whoever organises the Secret Service didn't really put a lot of thought into how good they'd actually be on the day. So, I don't go to the conspiracy theory, but by hell, they didn't do a lot to protect him, did they?
No, we'll get to that now because conspiracy theories and this man.
He's pointing at the camera to
Very connected. Rob Scurry, 5 minutes.
I have issue with that term, conspiracy theory. That was after the 63 assassination of JFK. That was a term the CIA came up with for people who question the official narrative, and it's a slight. It's it's like do your own research. It's like you do your own research. Well, yeah, maybe I read and I have other. I don't get all my sources from the same. I don't just ingest what I'm told to ingest, and I look at things in different, like doing the form or something. You look at history, you look at people's motives, and the biggest one is you look at where the money goes, who benefits, and that gives you a lot of the answers, I find. But yeah, I saw a picture of the FBI. They're up on the roof with a hose, washing down where the guy shot. The official narrative is...
We're going to leave the blood up there for a month today or something. What?
I don't do you hose down crime scenes? Like a day or two after?
I think a gurney would probably be easier.
Yeah.
And the official story was we couldn't put anyone up there because the roof was slightly tilted forward. It was quite a bizarre explanation.
Rob, the whole thing's a G up. There's more holes in it, like feeding him in a golf course. It's a disaster.
More holes in it.
I want to know which. Well, I don't know which part was the conspiracy part and which part was the raw. Like, did you see old mate from the Secret Service? She's trying to get a gun in the hole, so she couldn't get near it. Like it was the first time. It was a disaster. Then you've got some absolute radical who get on a roof, and then you got bullets flying everywhere. Which piece is real? Did he actually get shot? Like, which piece is real?
Oh, I think he got shot.
Honestly, nothing would surprise me.
I just loved how he handled it. Like he's the ultimate media performer of all time.
But if you're going to script a way to
and just be, I know you don't want me to, but I got to put my head up and whack my fist in the air and get one of the greatest photos of all time with the American flag right behind me.
The whole thing's so scripted to perfection, Jack.
And if you haven't,
I'm not saying it didn't happen, but dead set. Come on.
If you haven't seen the Alison Chains Trump edit yet with the rooster, it's get the hair on your arms up. It's quite amazing.
I can't get that. Many.
No, it kills many men. It kills many. The Trump many men, but no, the rooster from Alison Chains. It's Trump being the rooster.
Yeah,
anyway,
well, we're obviously it's a real setback that people were actually killed and someone was hurt, but
absolutely, terrible.
America, just being America, Trump.
Isn't that the whole crazy part though? That whole situation for what's happening in America, and like we're talking about a president being like narrowly away from being shot in the head, and it's like everywhere. It's like it's pretty much a joke, right?
I love how they're all like, I just don't know how this could happen. Well, like everyone's got a gun.
mate, there's 14-year-olds in Call of Duty that would have set up for better security than those people. That's what blows my mind. There's just no way, mate.
What about
my 10-year-old on Fortnite would have done a better job.
what about when they turn up to the next rally, and then you're queuing up there, and they're trying to usher you in the seats behind you?
It's worse than drawing wide over the 11.
I mean, I want to be in the Popemobile. You know, I want to have the screen up.
There's got to be bookmakers have got to have a market for will he make November as well, because I reckon this won't be the first.
That's why I'm so scared to back it.
You really have to check your T&Cs with your relevant plastic wherever you're betting to just find out what would happen in the case.
Is it all in betting? Like, what if they knock him off?
T&Cs, Butchie boy, you got to check them.
Maybe there's a sub. We need a sub.
All right, let's move on from Trump and American politics and go to one of the greatest games of rugby league of all time last night. I don't know if it was a Queenslander on this show. I don't think there is. But
we've all got one head.
Lost, and they were pounded into the ground. They were absolutely pounded into the ground. Bradman Best with the biggest cut lip of all time. He was very hard to handle. He dropped the pill twice, but when he held onto it, he shrugged off Dane Gagai and he said, "Fuck you, Reece Walsh, and I'm scoring. I'm putting us in front." And it was as an enjoyable try, an enjoyable rugby league try as I've ever witnessed in this shed. It was glorious, Gunner.
Glorious stuff. Long first half, and didn't actually just make a meal of the game. Like, it just blew the pee out of the whistle.
Yeah, it's all about Ashley. But sorry, Butch, but it's like getting the first barrier in the Cox plate and taking 11, taking that sideline penalty, and it turned out it was the greatest decision of all time.
Incredible.
I thought it was a penalty for the late hit on Mitch Moses from the front of the sticks. That would make sense. Level it up. It's sideline conversion if you don't, mate. Butch.
Yeah, no. Well, it just from a novice point of view, because I don't know a lot about the game. But the only thing I knew, I couldn't predict, there was going to be, like, the dam was going to burst one way or the other. So did you see it going that way? Was it that predictable or not?
Yeah, but for my life, the dam should always burst, and it should be Queensland's dam that bursts. And more often than not, they pull something out of their ass, and they get away with it, and we get like rattled and incompetent on our attacking line. Yeah, and it's just like there was like millions of New South Welshmen last night just praying that it wasn't another case of how the fuck did we not win?
Even with 8 minutes to go, I'm like, we're home. My mate's like, seriously, like, how many times have we said this in the last 20 years and still got beat? There was a point in that game where Tom Dearden made a break, and he only had Dylan Edwards to beat. And if he had chipped the ball like a Billy Slater chip and chase, it would have been game, set, match. And he pulled up and waited, and that was a turning point for them.
He must have forgotten his Queensland spirit when he was on the break. As Lindsay Bowles said to me this morning, you just can't put a number on that Queensland spirit. Well, we did. We put 10 points on him. So 3. It should have been 3-0. If Reece Walsh doesn't slip over in game 1, just cops the good honest shot to the chest, then it's 3-0. Rugby league, the real winner last night. A glorious, glorious game. Let's talk footy for the weekend. Butch, you're obviously very, very, very keen Swans, are you?
I can't believe it. $1.90, absolute steal. $1.90. Just tell me. I just can't see Brisbane winning the game. That's all.
Just a class above. The Swans a class above.
Yeah.
Hawthorn, what did you think will beat Collingwood?
Yeah, good chance, very good chance. You'd like them a fraction healthier. They just got a couple of injuries, but in saying that, Collingwood have been decimated. But we're not going to be unhappy, Rob, if Hawthorn finishes Collingwood's season, because if Collingwood get beaten, that'll be their season.
Hawthorn favourites. It's some great games of AFL on the weekend. Can't wait. That's 4:35 p.m. on Saturday, right around Danusta time, Jono, which we'll get to very shortly. Yesterday we had a winner, Manhattan View, Manhattan Rain Philly with Gavin Bedgegood, a yearling, who's turned into a really nice 3-year-old mare. Did a really, really good job. And I was there, and it was a bit like the New South Wales win. You were just thinking, fucking hold on, surely. But the TV watch, it was a bit easier, my man.
It was, yep. I thought it was a pretty perfect ride there from Tom Stockdale. He rode it last start at I think it was Bendigo, yep. Thought he rode it well there too, and I thought it was a great ride. And we were obviously concerned coming into it that she possibly wouldn't handle the heavy surface, but got through it all good, and would probably, we're leaning to her preferring something a bit firmer, so she can certainly go on with it.
And potentially further as well. Butch, what do you think of the win?
I thought it was a good, strong win, and it looked like, it's a defining moment in a horse's career to actually do something like that. So, I think you want to race a horse, that's a racehorse. I think it was. I think it's going to have. I'd say next season, between the months of like April and October, it's going to have a really good year, because the Manhattan Reigns I've had a few, just take a bit of time to mature. Interestingly enough, as of about 10 minutes ago, there was a first starter at Pakenham, a 2-year-old by Alabama Express that won by about 6 lengths for first starter for Yulong and Matt Laurie. So I'd love to see Alabama's Express's 2-year-old figures from his first crop.
That'd be outstanding, and we have shares available in a really nice, unbelievable reports from the breaker, Adrian Callboy. Just headed to Ballarat yesterday or the day before to go through her first stable preparation with Kieran Ma. There are shares available, Jono, Jono, at themailbag.com.au. Now, there aren't shares available, John, in these 3, but we've got 3 runners across the weekend in the big races, at Flemington or Rose Hill. We have Shiny New Deal kicking off his campaign, just warming up at Flemington, just hoping for him to jump travel and get through his gears nicely, but just a kick-off point. And we have Until Valhalla at Rose Hill, who was started favourite last start in a Saturday race. Looks to be a juicy price to me, and I think she can atone, drawn wide, gets a softer run than she had last start. I think she'll relish being outside of horses, gets Nash on. I think she's a big box ticker, and I'm expecting her to run really well. And then we finish with Danustar. John, your favourite horse?
Yeah, he is one of my favourites. He probably is. He's trending that way to be the favourite. But yeah, he's second up. His first up record is very plain. I think he's had 6 or 7 first up attempts for no placings. But we thought he was super first up. Wasn't beaten far, just over 2 lengths from memory with the apprentice aboard. But yeah, his second up stats are really good. Jay Collett gets back on, who's won on him before. And yeah, he had some great form from last preparation. Wetter the better for him, but I think it's going to probably be around a 6 or a 7. I think it's a 7 at the moment, but no sort of rain about. But that won't harm him. And yeah, I think he'll be hard to beat.
Beautiful. I reckon that's about us for Just a Walk. Thanks, episode 10. Fascinating chat with Alison from Arrowfield. She's a star. She's super nice. She's at every yearling sale. If you're out there and a bit lost, go and find her. She'll look after you. That's what she does for us. I hope you have a phenomenal week. Our best bets were earlier in the show. Rewind it and find them. Be nice to each other and have a phenomenal weekend. Bye for now.